Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my podcast. This is the way that I see it. My name is Lucy Superfox. So I hope that you've had a good week. What have you been up to? Sorry, I'm moving my microphone. I always forget to put it right actually next to my face. So I hope you've had a good week, whatever you've been up to. It has been, I think this might actually be my first podcast since I got engaged. So massive changes here, getting engaged. I was very surprised. Maybe I should do a podcast or a video all about how it happened. I'm sure people would love to know. But yeah, I was very, very surprised. And so one of the things that came out of kind of last weekend after getting engaged and kind of the feeling and what it meant and was actually a lot about beliefs. And I always say to people, you're never going to get anything that you're not available for, right? And I was absolutely available to be proposed to. I was available for this kind of ring. I was available for the whole experience to be amazing. And we get what we expect, right? We get what we're available for. And so much of the time, what I see when it comes to manifesting anything in life or creating whatever word feels good for you is that people actually want something, but then don't create the space and are not available for it. So an example would be if you were a coach or a trainer or something like that, or even a hairdresser, or you were a client-based business basically, and you were like, right, I want 20 more clients, but there's no space in your diary for those 20 clients to go. You don't make time every week for actually promoting to those new clients or having those client conversations. You're not actually making space for your thing to come, right? And so that would be like me telling myself the whole time, it's not going to happen. We're not getting married. He's not going to propose. He wouldn't know what ring to get me anyway. And, you know, like, oh God, the whole experience would be awful. Like me talking that, right? I'm talking it out of existence and I'm not making space for it and I'm not available for it. And the same thing applies to our business growth, to our money goals, to our body goals. Like whatever we talk ourselves into, whatever space we make in our diary, however we live our life, right? That is what happens next, because we don't get what we want. And this is what people fucking misunderstand all the time. We get what we are. We don't get what we want. We get what we are. So I could have wanted to get engaged. I could have wanted to get married. I could have wanted to be this. But if I had waited until I was engaged to be a really good girlfriend, aka now fiance, but if I had waited till that point to be a good partner to be with, or I'd waited till that point to be open to getting married, or I'd waited till that point, right? This is what people do. They say, if I, then I, or when I, then I. But actually, we have to become the thing before the thing manifests or before the thing happens, because that's what actually brings it to us in the first place. And so this is sometimes the misunderstanding that people have. Glasses on, must require glasses on. It's good when I've got screen time. You can just see the little ring from my ring light, but it is what it is. And so so much of the time, what happens is people want the manifestation to come and then they'll do the thing. And it's the opposite way round. And so when it comes to money, this happens so much of the time because people will say things like, well, when the money comes, then I will spend less on shopping. Or when I have more money, then I will donate to charity. Or when I have more money, then I will save more. Or when I have, right? The thing is, you are currently a match for something around money. You are a match for something, right? Whatever that match looks like. So whether that match right now is for 30 grand a year, £100 an hour, £20 an hour, like 20 clients a week, 40 clients a week, like whatever it is kind of an irrelevant fact, right? Well, you get what you are currently available for, you're currently making space for, what you currently believe is possible for you. And so this concept that something on the outside is going to change, but then our internal reality to change is flawed, right? What has to happen is you have to change your internal reality. You have to change the way you think. You have to change what you believe, change the things you say. You have to make space. You have to do these things. And then the manifestation in whatever capacity that looks like can then come. And that is the biggest mistake of it all. And the biggest illusion in personal development, and I say this all the time, is that we get what we want. We don't. We get what we are. And so right now, if I want to, let's say I wanted to double my business growth, that doesn't mean I need to work doubly hard. Again, that's a limiting belief, right? But what it needs to be is I need to make space for that amount of money, or I need to make space for that volume of work to come in, or I need to make sure my website can cope with double the amount of courses sold, right? We have to make space for that thing to come. But before we do that, we have to know what we want. We have to, and I've talked about this 1,000 times, guys, we know what we want. We do the work to believe we can have it. We then take inspired action, and then we basically make space, we create space for the thing, and then we hold the faith and trust the process. And what happens so much of the time is people know what they want. They don't want to do the other 4 steps, and they expect the manifestation to come for them to feel different. But the challenge is, whilst you are always dependent on your outward reality for how you feel, your inward reality will never change anything on the outside. So while you are looking outside for things to change, your inside is not changing. And when your inside is not changing, your outside is not changing. And this is why Mini Money Mindset course existed, right, around money, because people think the reason they don't have money is the government, or it's the bank for the interest rates, or it's their job, right? But actually, the reason that you're in the situation you are with money is because currently what you believe, the stories you tell, what you know to be true, the actions you've taken up to this time, and what you're available for. And so if you want to be available for something different, guys, I promise you, I've done this process time and time again. I've talked about my money story before. I've talked about how I went from, earning kind of like a 40K salary to then matching that in my first year of business, to then doubling it, to tripling it, to quadrupling it, to more than that, over the last few years, and how I've done that. Not in terms of how, not in terms of, well, I sold this course, then I built that and I built that, but actually how I grew what I was available for. And this is why you tend to see people go on quite linear journeys with money. Now, your journey with money doesn't have to be like that. You can absolutely quantum leap it. And I actually have 3 occasions where I've quantum leaped my wealth massively, and one of them being in the last 8 months. And that has happened because I changed what I was available for. So I decided what I want. I did the work to believe I could have it. I took inspired action. I made space for it. I created time, created space, decided what I was available for. I trusted the process, and then it happened. And so what most people are doing is going, well, when that changes, I will change. And here is my plea to you, is if you feel stuck, if you feel lost, if you feel challenged, if any area of your life right now is not thriving, it's not growing, and you want it to, right? And there are 2 things people are either motivated by. They're either motivated by fear, or they're motivated by desire. And what I will tell you is motivation from fear will only last you so long. It's like a bungee cord, right? It will let you go so far, and then it will snap right back. But motivation from desire, right? From deep in your bones, desire, that will carry you a fucking long way. But the thing is, so many of us are holding so many stories and beliefs about what is allowed for us, what is possible for us, who we think we are, what's true for us, that we don't actually fully allow ourselves to embrace our desires in the first place. And so my advice to you is, first of all, to do that clearing work. And it might be that you have to do more work on your beliefs and more work on your clearing work before you can even decide what you want. So normally the process, we decide what you want, do the work to believe you can have it. But sometimes if we have such deep ingrained stories and belief about who we are and what's possible for us and what we can do and who we can be and who people think we are, and look, our identity is huge. In fact, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk about identity in the next podcast, right? Our identity is huge for who we are and significance. And what I think is really important to understand is that when you have those limiting beliefs, they are like a bungee cord that will snap you right back. And so if you have tried to change the outward reality of your life, you've actually been that person that's taken action, that's stormed forward, that hasn't procrastinated, that's gone, I'm just going to give it a fucking go, you'll only get so far, because your belief system has only conditioned you so far. Now, for some people, that far is $1 million. For some people, that far is 100 grand. For some people, that far is 20 grand, right? And every single person's different. But you have to do that work. Like, no one can do that work for you. That's not, you could win the lottery tomorrow, but if you have the same shitty money mindset story, you won't stay a millionaire for very long, right? Because you haven't created space for it. You're not available for it. You tell stories about lack and who you think you are. So the first 2 steps, deciding what you want and believing you can have it, those 2 sometimes need to be swapped over. Sometimes we need to do some work on our money beliefs, or if it's about your body or it's about your relationship, sometimes you need to do the work on that belief system or that area before you can even embrace what you desire. And I had a client for a long time, and she would always say to me, we worked together for a long time, and she's a completely different person now. Like, it's actually amazing to watch. But she used to say to me, Lucy, I really struggle to visualize. And I'd say, well, can you remember stuff? And she'd say, yeah. And I'd say, well, if you can memorize stuff, then you can visualize stuff, because memories and visualization is using the same part of the brain. But the reason she couldn't visualize is I honestly, truly believe to this day that she had so many limiting beliefs and so many stories about what was possible for her, that as a result of that, she couldn't allow herself to desire bigger things, because the thought of desiring massive things and big things made her belief system kick in and go, ha ha, that would never be possible for you. How crazy, what a stupid thing to say, blah, 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 right? And so sometimes those 2 things need to be interchanged, deciding what you want and believing you can have it. Sometimes we need to switch them around. And, this is a big part of all of my mini courses, but especially mini money mindset, because what we want is an outcome, right? What you want is you're transforming your financial reality. You want the outside of your financial life to look different, to feel different, to experience different. But what we have to first do is get really clear on what we want, because if we say things like, I want more money, you find 20p on the ground, the universe has done its job. Yeah. And so you have to get really, really clear on what you want. But it might be that you are so entrenched in your money mindset stories about what's possible for you, who you think you are, what your identity is, that only rich people have this, and if you have that, then you're poor, or whatever, right? And actually, it might be that you need to go to work on those money mindset stories before you can even embrace what it is that you desire. And that can be hard. But here's the thing, I have been stuck many times. I have felt that's what the Ultimate Mindset Makeover was created from, right? It's one of my mini courses. And from when I went through a period where I just felt fucking stuck. I felt like I was going back and forward. I felt like I was literally being thrown against the wall like a yo-yo. And what I realized was it's because I wasn't actually truly embracing my desires. And I also had this myriad of beliefs and stories and things going on about what was possible for me at that time in the world, right? And this was actually during 2021, early 2021, about what was possible for me in the world. And so therefore I felt like I was like, oh, I want this, but I can't have it. Or I want this, but I can't have it. And I want this, but I can't have it. And that is an exhausting feeling. It's exhausting. But what didn't change it was taking more action. What changed it was sitting down, looking at those beliefs, calling them out, realizing they were fucking bullshit, and then creating new ones and reframing those beliefs and saying, I believe that because that happened. I believe that because that happened. Is that actually the truth? Is that the truth for every single person that's ever walked the planet? No. Where is evidence that there's different? Okay, cool. What can I learn from that experience? Or where have I proved this belief wrong? When you do that wrong, then you're able to decide what you want the new belief to be and give evidence to that. And we have very logical minds, human beings. Like, yes, we're emotional creatures, we're spiritual creatures, depending on your personal beliefs, but we also have very logical minds, and they like to look for evidence. And that's what your filtering system in your brain does, right? It looks for evidence. And so when you're trying to create new beliefs and stories, you have to also have evidence. And that's what I teach the course, because look, somebody who's doing the course could maybe come in and maybe they are doing 500,000, they want to do 1 million. Now, am I doing 500,000, 1 million? Not at the time of recording this, no. But because of the fact that I am the evidence for many people who want to be where I am right now, that's why I've shared the course as it is. And if I decide at a later date that as I grow my income, as I grow my wealth, and as I grow these things, I might add on modules, I'm never going to re-record those modules. I'm never going to re-record this beginning phase, because what people want is something relatable. They want a story because their brains need evidence. Now, look, I am a girl who was broke. I am a girl who was so desperately in debt that I ran out of space on my credit card. I maxed out my overdraft, right? I was stuck. I was financially going round in circles. And what I realized was that I was the common denominator. You are the common denominator in your life. And so I recognized the need and the necessity and the responsibility I had to transform my financial reality by transforming my inner reality, because what I would do was pave the way for so many people, both in my family, my friends, the people around me, the people that had the same jobs as me, the people that went to uni with me, the people who went to school with me, the people who live near me. I had a responsibility to show that you don't have to be XYZ. You don't have to have 5 degrees. You don't have to be born into a wealthy family. Like, so a lot of the belief stories that I had, that you don't have to have any of those things to be wealthy or successful. And so what I want you to know is that the only person that can change what happens next in your financial reality is you. And so if you're sat on the fence right now thinking, oh, do I do this money course or not? Well, my question is, do you want to change your financial reality or not? That's my question. Not, not, oh, well, you could do it, but you could also do that. Like, do you want to change or not? Yes or no? That's the question. So really ask yourself this: am I embracing my desires? And if you're embracing your desires and working towards them, are my beliefs holding me back? And if your beliefs aren't holding you back, but you're not taking action, why are you not taking action? And I promise you that it's because you've deep down got a belief that's holding you back, right? And then is it that you're not making space? And if you're not making space, is it because you believe something about that it'll be a waste of time, it wouldn't be worth it, it's not going to work anyway? And number 5, if you're not trusting the process and there's still work to be done on beliefs. Our beliefs are our map, they're our operating system, they're what controls everything. And so when they are not in line with the things that we say and want, we won't do the thing, we won't take the action, we won't make space, and we won't trust the process. And this is why transforming your outer financial reality comes from transforming your inner financial reality. So that was it. Next week, I'm going to talk about identity. I feel like that's really where I'm at right now. I'm going to talk about identity next week. I hope that you've resonated with this. I would love for you to leave a little rating on the show. All you've got to do is click on the top bar in Spotify, if listening in Spotify, and click rate show. I would love to know what you think. I would love to hear your comments. I'd love to hear any topics you would like me to talk about, to drop them below as we just edge into 2023, and it will be starting season 6. Can I believe we've had 5 seasons of this podcast? And I will be bringing guests back for season 6. So I hope this has resonated in some way. I hope that you've been able to take a nugget of information. I hope there's been something today that you've gone, yeah, that's what I needed to hear. And if you want to find out more about transforming your financial reality, head to lucysuperfox.com/courses, and you can find more information about the mini money mindset course there available for you. So have the most beautiful week, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.